affirm this together. There's only one presence, one power,
and
one
intelligence,
active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotence.
And the Advent medley is a green sheet, and it's double-sided. It's going to have a bunch of Christmas hymns in it, mostly for Advent, which is advantageous for us. You can stand. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. There's a song in thee, there's a star in the sky, there's a mother's deep prayer, and a baby's low cry. And the star rains its fire while the beautiful sing, for the manger in Bethlehem cradles a king. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Good Christian men, rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Now ye hear of endless bliss. Jesus Christ was born for this. He hath opened the heavenly door, and man is blessed evermore. Christ was born for this. Christ was born for this. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. You may be seated. The daily word. Oh,
So as we light the Christ candle that honors that Christ presence in each of us, please join me in prayer. Sweet Spirit, on this first Sunday of Advent, we celebrate hope. Just as that small flickering light represents the light in the darkness, so do we feel that hope that at times is a tiny light in our own soul. It is you, that which we call the Christ presence in each of us. It burns brightly, day and night, day after day, week after week, year after year. And no matter how dark it may seem, we need only turn within. So, sweet Spirit, today as we come together in joyful celebration, we also celebrate that fire within, that love, that light that you are in each and every one of us, and the way that it allows us to burn brightly in His glory when we keep the hope that you are for us. For this and for all the multitude of blessings that you everything. So, thank you. So it is.
And we're going to sing Imagine. It's another handout for you.
No.
Daily word. Then imagine.
Imagine that.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first Sunday in Advent. Good to see all of the bright and shining faces here. So the words for today are hope and faith. The affirmation is, this Advent, my hope leads me to unwavering faith in God. My belief in goodness of the world, others, myself, and God begins with hope. Maybe hope is all I can muster after a period of doubt or disappointment. As I feel hopeful, I begin to believe that new possibilities and better outcomes are available to me. My hopeful feelings lead to faith, a certainty that the goodness I could only sense before is the actual nature of life. With faith, I now direct my thoughts towards goodness, wholeness, and my heart's desires. With gratitude for my awakening, I use faith to dismantle doubt and limitation. I hold only the best thoughts for myself. I know and feel in the depths of my soul that the good I desire is already mine. With unwavering faith and deep gratitude, I claim it now. Now from Psalms, chapter 62, verse 5. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from Him.
All right, and your handout is now. Thank you, Richard. Is imagine. Imagine that again. If you'd like to stand, you may. It doesn't matter. If you'd like to do it, might have more energy. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no divisions too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Yeah. Oh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. a family of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Yeah, oh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Thank you, Jude. Oh, that was my request. Because we really are about hope when we imagine. I got a bone to pick with the daily word, though. Hope and faith. Shouldn't it be hope or faith? I mean, are they the same thing? If you could choose hope or faith, what would you choose? Can I get a hope? Hope for faith. Ah, you stole my punchline there, Jude, and you would be the one to do it. Thank you, Richard, for reading. My hope leads me to unwavering faith in God. Really? Can it sometimes lead to Murphy's Law? Everything that can go wrong does go wrong, or where's God in this? There's an absence of God in this pandemic. In a lot of what we see on this earthly plane, it can appear that there's an absence of God. So I say, bah, humbug to this hope stuff. I mean, you could hope your life away, couldn't you? In John 17, verse 33, Jesus says, in the world you shall have tribulation. In his famous book, The Road Less Traveled, Scott Peck begins the opening line, is life is difficult. The first of the four noble truths in Buddhism, suffering is inescapable. So maybe we should just throw out all this positive path to spirituality, this daily word that always is so wonderful. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, says Jesus. Why? For I have overcome the world, says he. The truth is that you can't get away from hope. It appears we're all born with it. So the poet that wrote, "Hope springs eternal in the human breast," was right. Now, perhaps some of my questioning of hope comes from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, where it is said that hope is an expectation of good in the future. Since mind, it comes from that part of us that can taste and feel and touch and see and hear and thinks that that's all there is. Whereas faith is not hinged on time or space. Hope is the eternal waiting, whereas faith is in the eternal now. In Hebrews 11, verse 1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Some translations say faith is the assurance of things hoped for. Yay, faith. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, wrote, "Faith is the perceiving power of mind and the ability to shape substance." Borrowing, I believe, from Hebrews 11, faith is the substance of things hoped for. So what is this substance? The revealing word says it's living energy, your spiritual essence, capable of being shaped by the invisible out of which everything visible comes, that invisible good, the living energy that you cannot see, but is behind everything that you do see. Merriam-Webster defines hope as desire plus expectation. Desire, the Latin of the Father, desire. That's good, right? We can all agree with that. But expectation, where I come from, expectation can be considered a premeditated resentment. So, faith, the certain knowing of the good in the now. But I have to admit, we can't get away from hope. Springing eternal. And this Advent season is all about hope. Hope for what? What is this hope about in Advent? In traditional religion, it's about this birth in a manger in Bethlehem, the Christ child being born. In New Thought, it's about the birth of our Christ consciousness and awareness of our relation with God. And what is that relationship? We are one, inseparable. Every cell of our being filled with that God stuff, the G-O-D, the gift of divinity within humanity that Jesus came to tell us the good news. It was all about that. And he gave his life for that cause. And we are grateful some 2,000 years later for the stand he took, for the stance he took. The substance of him was all about faith. It is said that inside a mustard seed is the largest plant in the garden. Just like inside the acorn is the mighty oak. Inside you is the infinite good flowing in you, as you, through you. That in which you live and move and have being lives and moves and has being within you. Recently, a well-known Bible scholar by the name of John Shelby Spong passed away September the 14th of this year. He was an Episcopal bishop who could no longer abide by some of the teachings of his religion. He captured an expansive view, maybe I should say he uncaptured Christianity for an expansive view of the world. And he asked the question in one of his books, Jesus for the Non-Religious. He asked the question of what it was about this man that so inspired the people of his day that they wrote stories known as liturgy, inspired writing. And he says the story of Bethlehem is such an inspired writing. He gives a lot of evidence, and he so devoted his life to Jesus. Gives a lot of evidence that Jesus was actually born in Nazareth. Beginning with, he was called Jesus of Nazareth. But what would cause these people to put this manger, this lovely story that we will not let go of, this liturgy? The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary says that Bethlehem stands for bread, that nourishing substance that gives us spiritual life, as our daily bread gives us our physical nourishment. This substance that Jesus referred to when he said, "Give us this day our daily bread." We need the spiritual, is what he was saying, as well as the physical bread. The Bethlehem story is about the union, the universal, abundant good, individualized in you, the union of you and God. Substance happens. That nourishment happens when love, represented by Mary, joins with wisdom, represented by Joseph, and the Christ consciousness is born. The God in you becomes aware of God's self. The Christ consciousness is born. I used to hope for outer riches, that which gathers dust and moth and can be lost in the stock market in a day. Advent is about inner riches that can never be taken from you, even after death. That inner rich self consciousness goes on because life goes on in eternity, in the now moment, in the eternal now. You and God are one. I believe, thank you, I believe that that is what Jesus was talking about when in John chapter 14, he says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." You know that Jesus knew his Hebrew Bible, and I believe he was referring back to Moses standing at the burning bush and saying, "Who shall I say sent me?" And what he hears is, "I am that I am." Now meditate on that for a while and see if you don't feel the oneness that you are with God. I am the truth, the light, and the way. Here's a question for you. Can you surrender your limited expectation of the way that which you hoped for should appear? I'm going to say that again. Can you surrender your limited expectation of the way that which you hoped for should appear and trust always? That's what Advent is about. That's the hope for faith, to have that mustard seed of faith that will change your life, that will change our lives together. Vera Tate Dawson is a Unity writer who offers a series of commentary on Emily Cady's Lessons in Truth. And she tells a story in her series found on truthunity.net of teaching a Sunday school class and asking them, what do you need to see God? And there was silence in the room. And she prompted the children again. She said, you remember, what do you need to see God? It starts with an F. And one little boy's hand shot up and he said, flashlight. And all the children giggled. But Ms. Dawson said, yeah, that's right. Faith is like a flashlight. When you lose your way, when you're in the dark, you need that flashlight to get back on the path. I thought of that this past week. The apple of my eye, you'll remember, TV Cat, my granddaughter, had eye surgery a couple of weeks ago. She had a lazy eye, you see. It drifted outward. And the doctor said that she needed surgery. So a couple of weeks ago, she had that surgery. I got a call last week from my daughter who was sobbing uncontrollably. When I finally got her to calm down enough to tell me what was wrong, she said it was late one night. And she said, Pee-wee's eyes are crossing. They're crossing. And I said the only thing I knew at that point to say, can we pray? And I led my daughter. She prayed with me. The light of God surrounds Phoebe. The love of God enfolds her. The power of God protects her. And the presence of God watches over Phoebe. All is well. My daughter stopped sobbing and we hung up, and I called Silent Unity immediately. And the prayer chaplain on the other end of the line said, the healing life of God is within Phoebe, within every cell of her being. And I felt better. And I hung up. And the darkness was still there. You ever notice that it's easier to find faith for other people's problems and know that all is in divine order than it is for your own problems? So when I was all alone that night, I started beating up. Where's my faith? I thought. Here I preach about this stuff, and yet when I need it, I feel at a loss. And then I remembered the flashlight. We can lose our way on the path, and faith is that flashlight that helps us find our way back. So I forgave myself, and things got better and better. It'll be 8 to 10 weeks before we know for sure if the surgery was successful. But I know now that whatever the outcome is, the surgery was successful. I have faith. And it's said that sometimes they need to go back in and tweak it. I have faith that all is well, because wherever Phoebe is, God is. And all is well. I hope that you can look back knowing that good has prevailed, whatever you have hoped for. I hope you can find that mustard seed of faith, knowing that all has been in divine order in your life. Let us take a moment to go forward with hope or faith, affirming divine order and knowing that we can surrender our limited expectation of the way the things we hope for should appear. We do that by going within to the inner riches. So we take a moment, finding that comfortable place in your chair, breathing in deeply, exhaling fully. Feeling the feet underneath you as if it were the palm of God, and not knowing where your body ends and that palm begins. They are one. The human hands that constructed that chair. Is God expressing. Emily Cady said, the desires of your heart are God knocking at the door of your consciousness, seeking to be expressed. In trust, in faith, and so we will into the beauty, the wonder of this Advent month. Feel yourself going deeper and deeper into the arrival, the advent of the inner riches that no one can take from you. Continuing to breathe and exhaling, knowing that your presence is a present to God. And that this divinity in you is a presence that your Creator instills in you. Bringing eternal faith in your ability to receive divine life and to shape the substance of your life from the inner to the outer. Your spiritual essence becomes your living energy. Feel that truth in know we would linger here. We return our attention the outer sanctuary, bringing with us our spiritual life. It enlivens our energy. We sing Alleluia.
Thank you, Reverend. And I know what it takes to and that doubts and darkness keeps in. It takes people who are willing to step up. We are really glad that you stepped up. Now is the time in our service, and we're going to do our offering and our offering affirmation. So we're going to take a moment to put our consciousness into the divine flow and practice that law of circulation. That giving and receiving are both two sides of the same coin. We're going to open ourselves to the blessings raining down on us through the windows of heaven. Talked about in Micah. And we're going to donate from home using the button on the website, the donate button on our website, unitybatonrouge.com. There's also a link to it in the weekly email. And for those of us here in the sanctuary, we can either come up and lay an offering in that dish there. There's also one at the back of the sanctuary on the way out. One of the other. Let's go ahead and take our offerings and tithes and hold them in our hands. We're going to bless them up with our offering affirmation together. Divine love through me
blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. Thank you, God. When we recorded some accompaniments from the church, Terry Byers playing, I'd written a song called The Light of Advent in 2010, and he suggested adding a verse to it. So we have it a little bit different. It's kind of hard to follow, so if you can follow where I'm going, fine. Have you heard that a child would be born in a manger? Have you heard in the wind, Spirit leading the way? Is your heart open wide to receive love this season? And know that the Christ light is shining within. Back to the top, second verse. Is the light that you find in your heart shared with everyone? Are you ready to step up and give it away, so that light will return to you over and over, and you'll feel that the Christ light is shining within. As we prepare with great expectation, our hearts will be filled with love shining bright. Back to the top. Does your heart know the joy of a child filled with laughter? Can you smile with a stranger who'll soon be a friend? Do you look for the best found in all situations and show that your Christ light is shining within? And show that your Christ light is shining within.
Thank you, Jude. Know that we see every gift returning to the giver, not just tenfold or a dozenfold, but 100-fold. Step us down, shaking together and running over a good measure. So we bless these gifts, these tithes and love offerings. We send them out to do the work of Spirit as we affirm our mission together. Unity of Baton Rouge is a diverse, growing, thriving, healing community of wisdom, love, support, and service. And so we are. Do we have kids today? Are kids out there? Can we get our kids in?
We are walking as the light, as the light, as the light. We are walking as the light of God. As the light, as the light, as the light, as the light, as the light,
As the light, as the light of God.
We are walking as the hope, as the hope, as the hope. We are walking as the hope, as the hope of God. As the hope,
There we are.
as the hope, as the hope, as the hope, as the hope, as the hope of God.
We're on lesson 264 in A Course in Miracles. I am surrounded by the love of God. And one of the 12 powers we picked was love, the ability to attract, unity, and desire.
Thank you. Okay, just a couple of announcements. Please join us after service today to decorate the sanctuary for Christmas. Yay! We'll begin our annual Giving Tree project next Sunday, and I want to introduce someone with a desire in regard to that, our giving tree, to see if we can gather some spiritual essence and living energy around it all. So Elizabeth, would you come up and share your divine idea? We usually do adopt a family for Christmas. And Elizabeth introduced an idea to me yesterday that I'd like to ask her to share.
That had an increase since COVID of teen violence, family violence, and teen deaths. Those two zip codes have high statistics in that area. So one of the organizations featured in there was a Brett Clark that's struggling. I spoke to a woman who's working with them, and one thing that we talked about was they need donations of sports equipment. So basketballs, footballs, hockey stuff, and indoor equipment. So indoor balls or games, and new or used. So if you're interested, see me after the service or contact me to the church. And if you feel led to.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And if you want to donate financially to that cause, you want to keep it simple, we will have instructions on how to do that on our Christmas tree, to give to the tree. Next week, we'll continue with that as we continue in this wonderful Advent season. Let us stand and sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. We're a family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.